just so I get some context here as well, the prize money, for instance, right? The winnings and stuff. Was it kind of pretty substantial back then?
Yeah, it was huge. I can't remember it, but it was tens of thousands. I think for winning the first week, I think it was somewhere around like $50,000 each, or like maybe it was like $40,000 each. I
Oh
know
my
for a fact that
god!
winning that fourth week, that solo event, it was like $67,500 or something like that. Like summer skirmish was very, very
And
lucrative, especially for me since I was winning. That was like the biggest prize pool. I was winning,
yeah,
and it was just crazy money.
and are you so you're let's say for instance you won $60,000, whatever it might be, you're being taxed on that presumably, right? Like that is that
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
so the way that, Epic Games actually did it, and shout out to Epic Games for this because this is actually an underrated thing that they were doing. Again, a lot of young pl or well, not for a while, but a lot of, like, younger people, a lot of people that don't really know much about taxes or adult things, like, in general. Like, I think I was, like, around, like, 19, still pretty young in my eyes. But the way that they did it was, let's say that I won, $67,500. Now, the federal tax rate for that was 24%. So what they would do actually was they would automatically take that 24% out. So I actually never saw the full amount. They only sent me the amount after they themselves already like kind of like taxed it. So they actually did like that tax portion of it for me myself because if they were to send me the full 67,500 when the tax year ended and I had to submit my taxes, then I would actually have to pay that 24%. So thinking about
Mhm.
their players in that regard, they automatically taxed it. So the money that I did actually end up receiving was like all mine instead of being like, oh, I just got $70,000. Let me go blow all this. And then when I have to pay tax on it at the end of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
year,
yeah.
I
Smart,
can't. Yeah,
smart.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Did you change as a person? Because obviously you're 19 years old. If I'm 19, I'm suddenly getting $67,000 or it might be in prize money. I'm going to be that person that suddenly goes, let's go a bit crazy. Let's go a bit crazy. Let's have some fun here. But like,
Um,
did it change you? Were you so? Because I as again we talked about this before, but you seemed to me like you were so engaged what was happening competitively that was kind of like all you were focusing on there. I don't know if money came into it. You were thinking about those kind of things.
so money's like obviously like a weird thing to talk about, but like not weird to talk about, but sometimes it could be kind of like uncomfortable, right? Because it's like, oh, what do you do with your money? My money, the way I handle my money is better, yada yada yada, like that.
Hmm.
Dude, I didn't spend, like, any of it. Like, I remember like, obviously, I earned a lot that first year from competitively, like, streaming started popping off subs, a lot of viewers, ad revenue, everything like that. Like, a lot of money just kind of coming in from places that I don't even know existed. Like, I don't even know, like, just hitting my bank account. I'm like, "Okay, cool." But, dude, I can confidently like,
What?
seriously,
What? That is a dream. I'm just getting money. I don't know where it's coming from, but that's great.
I mean, it comes in and it's just like some like the title of it when it hits my bank account is like ACH 531000008, and I'm like, don't know. Cool, thanks. You know what I mean? But like I was very frugal. Like I'm a humble person. I don't like to
Mhm.
just like go out and start blowing all my money. I was never kind of like that. I'm a pretty safe person. I like to always have like savings built up and everything like that. So I can confidently say like even to like this time, like I bought my car. I bought my car
Mhm.
cash, which was about $35,000. It was a brand new car, which a lot of people would advise against. Oh, why would you buy a brand new car? It just depreciates off a lot. I like new things personally. That's kind of like
Mhm.
how I am.
No,
I
I
don't I
get it.
don't
I
like
get it.
I don't like to deal with used things, but that's pretty much all I did. I mean, like, I got signed to a team, and it's not like I had to yeah, maybe like I bought a desk and I was buying like keyboards and mice to kind of try out and everything like that. Or, I was getting free PCs and I didn't even have to spend money on PCs because I was on Team Liquid at this point, sponsored by Alienware. Alienware sends me a PC for free. I don't even really have to spend money on that. Like it was just like Elgato sending me stuff, you know what I mean? Like I was such a
Dude.
popular guy that I almost like didn't have to spend any of the money that I was making to even upgrade my setup.
So you're yeah, because that really interests me as well, like the whole kind of org thing, because there are, you see it these days as well. Like, I remember I went to my first ever Call of Duty event when I went to kind of do some work a while, like a long time ago now for Activision, and I went to like the Call of Duty kind of like World Finals, and it was great, and you had like Optic Gaming and these kind of it's the first kind of my first kind of introduction to kind of like esports orgs, okay, and the fan base and the kind of the players that play for these teams are celebrated in circles the same as like you'd
Mhm.
have like your favorite like football players, whatever it might be, right?
Yeah.
So you get signed to Team Liquid. I know that obviously Chap and 72 Hours, Poach, they're all Team Liquid, like kind
Yep.
of like the kind of like brotherhood. what does it mean to get signed to an org? Like, what did that mean? Because obviously, Alienware and these different brands are kind of like presumably like sponsoring, saying, "Yeah, use our stuff. Here's some free bits and pieces."
Yeah.
When you're in an org, like, what are your deliverables? Like, because I know there's going to be kind of some kind of people watching thinking, "Oh, I want to play for FaZe Clan one day. I want to play for Cloud9." These different. What does it mean to be on an org, and what did you have to deliver? And was there a salary? I mean, obviously, don't go into details if you need to, but just the understanding of what that means to be part of an org.
Playing professionally and streaming, I always said to myself that I would not do it as a career unless I had a guaranteed source of income, right? Think about it. My three main sources of income during this time was winning tournaments or playing in tournaments, not necessarily winning them, but placing well in them. Two, streaming and everything like that. Now, already those two, if I don't win a tournament, if I don't place one in a tournament, I don't earn money. If my stream doesn't do well or anything like that, or I don't get any like subs, donations, anything like that, boom. Very, very reliant on things that aren't necessarily kind of in your control completely.
Mm,
Um, but well, I mean, sometimes you start losing tournaments and everything like that, and you're not earning money because of that. So then my third source of income at that point would have been a salary from Team Liquid. And I always said to myself that I would not continue to compete as a career or play competitively as a career if I did not have a guaranteed source of income. So that's what being on org did to me, because it was like, okay, if I do terribly in every tournament, if my stream does terribly, I am still guaranteed to get this amount of money. I signed a contract for 2 years. I can do this for 2 years, and that was kind of like my safety net. That's the reason why I really was able to continue to play competitively. And still, I earned enough money from streaming and playing competitively to where I didn't necessarily need the salary, but the salary was always there in the back of my mind. Like, okay, it's a little bit of pressure off of the shoulders. Like, I don't have to perform in every single event. You know what I mean? Like, I always wanted to make a wage and everything like that. So for Team Liquid, they were awesome. I will tell you that my signing of Team Liquid, a lot of it actually had to do with the fact that, again, the Fortnite competitive scene at this point in time, it was still nobody really knew. Like, yeah, sure, we're having this summer skirmish thing kind of go on, but everybody still thinks, like, when you think about all of the other games out there, whether it be like League of Legends, Call of Duty, they're all org based. You have to be on an org to play these games. And when you're on an org, you're of course are playing with your teammates, your org mates. So signing to Team Liquid, actually, a majority of the reason why I actually signed to them was because of the people that were already on the org. And you already mentioned it. Chap, 72 Hours, and Poach, three of the best competitive players in the world, regarded as that, like, unanimously amongst a bunch of people. So I was like, you know what? If there's going to be a squad, level like format to this, that's the team that I want to be on, because we will be the best. And I can confidently tell you that Team Liquid, salary wise, was not my highest offer by any means. I signed with Team Liquid because, one, I had followed Team Liquid for a very long time in other esports. I was a big esports fan throughout all of this. By the way, I was always watching competitions, no matter what it was. Always a fan of Team Liquid, whether it be Counter Strike, whatever they were playing, and was always a big fan. And then two, I wanted to be associated with Chap, Tom, and Poach. So that
mhm,
was the reason why I actually signed to Team Liquid. As far as deliverables go, shout out to Team Liquid because they were very, very awesome. All of the sponsors were super, super cool. Like I said, Alienware. I got to do some cool things. I got to make commercials with Honda. I got to do commercials like wearing the Marvel collab jerseys that they were. Like, there's a picture of me wearing
that's
like the Captain
crazy.
America jersey. Like, I was like the center. Like, so cool. They did so many cool things. Team Liquid, Steve. They were always so accommodating. I mean, I got birthday gifts sometimes from them. It's like they don't have to do that. I guarantee you, almost no other orgs were doing that. But super awesome along the entire way. But deliverable wise, I mean, there was no like minimum hours stream. There was no like, hey, if you don't win a tournament, you're off the team. Like, it was like, we're with you for 2 years. That was the contract. Now, of course, with that, there were bonuses, like monetary bonuses. So they
Mhm.
would pay me extra if my Twitch did certain numbers, or if my YouTube videos did certain numbers. So that was also another, like, kind of stream of revenue that they were that's how they kind of incentivized. They were like, "Hey, listen, you don't have to stream, but if you do and it does well, boom, we're gonna give you money." Because then, at that point, remember, I am representing Team Liquid and Team Liquid is representing me. It's this
Yeah.
two-way street. And if I'm doing well, then so is their brand. You know what I mean? If more people are seeing their brand, more people are seeing their sponsor. So that's how they incentivized me to still grind and everything like that. But I was competitive. I obviously wanted to continue to stream. So it wasn't like I needed incentive to keep doing that, but it was always there for us to kind of earn.
We were in Katowice together in Poland. We didn't actually have a conversation. We didn't know each other, but you were there
Yeah.
competing. and I was there stage hosting. It was like the first time there was like a third party huge kind of Fortnite event. They built like a tomato temple thing. It was impressive, man. Like it was very cool.
Yeah.
But while we were there, they announced the Fortnite World Cup. Okay. I want to kind of like meet this kind of like before we move into kind of like FNCS and your career post kind of playing. Like when that was announced, we were in Katowice and it was suddenly out of nowhere. I want to say it was like a $4 million prize pool. Is that right? Was it 4 mil?
40.
Four, 40
40.
million. Right.
40.
Right. 40 million. Okay.
Yeah.
You're right. 40. Sorry. I've gone 10% of the actual value. Okay. So it was $40 million. Okay. Everyone was losing their minds over that. That was an like a crazy amount of money. And with the whole premise being that if you even qualified to go to New York, where they had the final, the World Cup, you won 50 grand, $50,000 just for getting there.
Yep.
Forget where you actually place 50,000. If you just get there, guaranteed. Now, Fortnite World Cup memories. What was that absolute tailspin of an experience like? Quickly, like what was it like? The whole thing must have been just like you saw Marshmallow DJing. It's when you had like the ninjas and the courages and the Dr. Lupos and the whole. I mean, it was a wild time.
Yeah, the reason why Fortnite World Cup is important is because it was without a doubt the biggest Fortnite like in-person event to actually have happened up until this point. The money that was on the line was absurd. There was like $1 million up for grabs each week. There was 10 weeks, and then of course the World Cup itself. When you actually got there was $30 million in total. So yeah, like I mentioned, $40 million in total on the line. And the scary part was qualifying, right? And there was a solos and a duos portion. So remember, I said there was 10 weeks of qualifying, and the weeks, there was 5 weeks of solos and 5 weeks of duos. To qualify for solos, they they based the qualification spots off of the region. So on NA East, which is the region I was playing off of, there was the top 6 each week qualified to World Cup. Now, I'll be honest with you, right before World Cup, like around that time for I would say, whatever years, I think it was like 2018, 2019, that year, since the start of like that year, and I think the first qualification week 1 was in like April or something like that, April or May. Prior to that, a couple months before that, I really kind of fell out of love for competing. Like I really wasn't grinding the game as hard as I should have been, as a competitor, as somebody who wanted to win at that time. I had been doing it for a long time at this point, was kind of just like slipping in terms of skill and everything like that. And that kind of stuff gets to you. So, here's the biggest event of the world that's announced, super amounts of money on the line. And I wasn't really grinding, I'll be honest. Coming into the first week, hadn't really played any solo scrims, hadn't really done any like preparing, anything like that. I kind of just like jumped in and was kind of hoping for the best, I'll be honest. Now, for those of you who don't know, spoiler alert, I ended up qualifying in week number 1. Now, after everything I just told you, you're probably like, "Well, how the heck is that possible?" I'll be honest with you, I don't know, okay? I was just good at Fortnite, and I could kind of get away with things like that. But the coolest thing about actually qualifying for World Cup was, the way that it worked was there was a 3-hour time period. You had 10 total games. So if you used 10 games up in those 3 hours, then you were out. I had extra games available, and there was about 5 minutes, let's say 5-10 minutes left in the running for the actual competition. So what I could have done whilst I was in my last game is it was approaching end game, but in order to maximize the amount of time I was actually in a game, I could have went W keyed somebody, went down, and then jumped into another game before those 3 hours actually ran out. And that was the big thing around the time was like, okay, do I do that or do I not do that? And I remember I was in the base, I was pretty safe, and I went on Discord and I messaged my teammates. I messaged Poach, Champ, and Tom. I was like, guys, what do I do? I've got 10 minutes left. I've got like 3 games left. I can get into another one. I can leave this one and kind of get the most points possible, make the most out of my time, or do I stay and do I play this one out? And the consensus in the group chat with Team Liquid at that point was I stay in that game. And that was the best decision I have ever done in Fortnite. Staying in that game, I ended up popping off. I had highlights on the broadcast. It was like my final game. They showed it on the mainstream. They showed me pretty much qualifying. I got so many eliminations, popping off in the end game. Boom, boom, boom. I think I got like third or fifth or something like that. But I placed really high. I had so many eliminations, got so many points from that game. Boom, I bumped up. I ended up getting top 6. Like I said, that's what you needed to qualify for the World Cup. And literally the first week of qualifiers, Liquid Vivid does it. Guaranteed 50.
Huge.
If I go to World Cup and get last place, I get 100th, I'm guaranteed 50 grand. Like I had won 50 grand just from qualifying for World Cup.